Welcome back to Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and before we get into this video, happy Thanksgiving to everybody in America. I'm from Canada, so we already celebrated ours a month ago, but for those of you guys who are celebrating it now, again, happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for each and every single one of you who come here, watch my videos, support, comment, like, subscribe. I love all of that. Very appreciative of all of you. And so with that being said, let's get into Humbl right now because this is the play that we all are interested in. So right now we're looking at Humbl, and there's a couple things that I want to discuss with the overall market that will have impact on Humbl share price. First thing I want to look at is our VIX. So our VIX is our volatility index. This means that when the S&P 500 is going down, the VIX is going up. So if you are short the market, that means that you are in favor of the VIX. And so today the VIX surged over 54%, which is a very catastrophic day in the markets. And so anytime the VIX is up, you know the stock market is down. And so right now on our VIX, we actually have a pretty bearish setup for the overall markets. MACD looks extremely strong right now. We are overbought right now, and we do have a gap here to the downside. And so I do expect the markets to recover, but I do think at this point in time right here, the beginning of March of 2022, we are going to see a massive move in the VIX. And if that massive move is to the upside, that means we are going to see a tanking of the overall markets. So I don't think we're seeing that big sell-off just yet. I think this was just a scare. And so when I'm looking at the price action, I do have to consider the VIX when I'm looking at a stock like Humbl. Even though Humbl is not on the S&P 500, if the overall indexes are going down, the OTC market's going to get hit as well. TSX, all of the markets are going to go down together. And so now that we understand the VIX and we understand how it plays a huge role with our markets, we know that there could be downside pressure in Humbl just off the fact that the overall markets are going down. We are starting to get these variant fears out of Africa. And so as long as there's this narrative that relates to any sort of variation or variant of COVID, then we know that there's always going to be some pump and dumps. And so again, I personally believe this is just narrative that is pushing the market down. I don't really fear this as a long-term thing, but I do know the markets need to have some items that move it up or down. And in this case, narrative is the biggest thing that is driving this market. And so anytime we relate our narrative to a variant, we are always going to see some downside pressure. And so that is exactly what we saw today. So with this specific price action here for Humbl, there was one bearish thing that I don't like what I saw here on Humbl. And so if you guys pay attention to this line right here, you can see that this was a nice level of support for us. So we came here we topped out, we found support on this level, but then we got resistance here, and then we found support on this level. And so this right here was the buy signal. We treated a former level of resistance as support. You buy this, and then what followed up was an extraordinary run up. Here we are now on the downside of this. We found some support. We tried to get back above resistance, but we got rejected. So this was actually a massive rejection here on Humbl. I think this rejection could lead the price action lower in the short term. We really needed to break this level of resistance if we wanted to see some hope here for Humbl in the short term. And I thought with the volume and good news that we had out of the stock, we were going to break this level, but unfortunately we did not. And so this is a bearish setup now, because as a level of one support has now been a level of resistance for us, and that is a troubling sign in the short term. If we look at our MACD right now, MACD is still in the negative zone. However, we did get this crossover, so I still do have faith that Humbl will break past this level of resistance. However, if we break below this level of support, look for the price action to eventually get as low as 18 cents. And so that is going to be a long ways away, but we need to be ready for all scenarios if you're a Humbl investor. And so what I'm starting to notice here in the Humbl shareholder base is there are a lot of people who are trying to make short-term money with the stock. They believe that this is a get-rich-quick play. If you weren't in this stock earlier in 2020, that ship has already sailed. That quick money, that smart money would have been made in this initial run-up. Now we're at a point of consolidation with the addition of George Sharp coming back on the board. That was an extremely bullish sign. Brian Foote speaking out on Twitter saying that you should not take their silence for weakness is letting us know that this company is still moving in the right direction. However, the big cloud over this stock is the B preferred shares that could turn into common shares, which would then flood the market with a ton of shares, which would dilute current shareholders. And that is a huge fear for everybody. And so the one thing that I gotta say about that is, if you're a long-term investor, this should not worry you. This should actually be a great time for you to load up on the dip. And so the reason why I want to talk about this is because so many people are fearful of this preferred B share conversion that those people are clearly in it for the short term. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Humbl is a long-term investment. By all means, if you want to go trade this stock, go ahead, but I am not speaking to the traders when I'm talking about Humbl. I'm talking to the people who believe in the long term of this company, who genuinely want to be a part of this company's growth and their future. And those are the individuals that I am speaking to. And that is why I want to be very clear with what I say when I am talking about Humbl. I'm not recommending you sell at the bottom and then buy back lower. That is not a smart play at all. We're already so low at this point that there's only so much lower we can go. And so whatever position you have now, just know that we have two levels of support. We have support here at around 40 cents, and then we have a last level of support here between 14 and 20 cents. And so those are our two levels where if you have capital, put in a buy order. So whatever shares that you want to grab up, gobble up as many as you can. And then from that point on, y'all will be ready and equipped. The reason why I'm saying this is such a beautiful time to be getting into Humbl, because there is zero institutional love for this stock right now. When you're a startup company, institutions aren't hurrying to hop into your company. They need to see that you're making revenue. They want to see that you guys are a profitable company or on the verge or on the route to profitability. But if Humbl succeeds and it follows through on all the promises that it has made to shareholders and it becomes this powerhouse in the digital economy, that is when institutional money is going to start to flood in. And that could be a year, 2, 3 years from now. And so for current shareholders, if you are buying in at these prices, just remember, big money is going to end up running into the stock at way higher prices than it is right now. And at that point in time, you are going to be solidified. You aren't going to be worrying about the stock anymore. The stock is going to be way higher than your average, and you're just going to be sitting back on a company that is going to be a concrete company. Right now, it's more of a risky investment because they are a startup. So we're going to see volatility both ways. We're going to see a lot of fear. We're going to have a lot of people who are going to bash the company. They're going to be scared of the company. But hindsight is always 20/20. I can't fast forward 2 years from now and then look back at this time being like, oh man, what a great time this was to buy when everybody was so scared about this B share conversion. We could possibly see that scenario play out, or Humbl could go completely bankrupt and we wouldn't know. But that is the whole point of when you invest into a startup. This is going to be a riskier trade, and Brian Foote himself says it. But if you're here for the long-term thesis like I am, then you have faith in this company, and that is why we are here today. And so any weakness in share price is a buying opportunity. And so I will keep saying this because I am a firm believer on this stock. There's just so much retail hype that is surrounding this play that it will inevitably get attention from institutions down the road. And then there's going to be so many catalysts that this company is eventually going to have, because any sort of progression is going to be a catalyst. And so anytime you have a startup, that could be a lot of catalysts. That could just be a domino effect. If they make an acquisition, if they sign some more people, and you just see a domino effect, it's going to lead to a lot of buying pressure. And so that is where shareholders are going to be rewarded. And so as the price keeps dipping, I get excited because it gives me more opportunity to buy this stock. And so this is one of those plays that I will be holding for a very long time. I will be selling where I feel like I need to take some profits, not because I believe the company is going to go down, but just for personal reasons. Every time you have a play that is profitable, you want to take some profits because each person has their own scenario, whether it's bills to pay, whether it's mortgages to pay off. It makes no difference. You always want to take your profits. And so right now I am accumulating. I will continue to accumulate. If we see a massive sell-off after this B share conversion, I will be there to buy that dip. And so I'm not scared of this conversion. I feel like people who are scared are going to be short-term investors, or they're going to be people who don't really understand what Humbl is about. If you know what Humbl is about, you understand that you're going to get an opportunity to buy these shares at a very cheap price for the long term. And if you have that mindset, then we are on the same page. And so I wanted to make this quick video on Humbl because I know a lot of people are stressing that conversion date's coming soon. And so we'll see what happens with this play. I'll be here to continue to update you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video here on Humbl, don't forget to like. We are on the road to 10K subs. Otherwise, I hope y'all have a great Thanksgiving. Tell everybody around you how thankful you are to have them in your life. Otherwise, this is Dummy Boy Finance. I'm Dummy Boy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.